Vision, this is our home.
Then let's fight for it.
The WandaVision finale brought the big-scale Marvel action they've been teasing all season long. Welcome to IGN's Canon Fodder. I'm filling in for Max Scoville. Directed by Matt Shakman, the WandaVision finale brought massive changes for Wanda and Vision and really the whole MCU moving forward. Plus, we finally got a real explanation about Evan Peters and his fake Pietro. And of course, stick around to the end and we'll run down all the Easter eggs we could find. But to do all of that, I have to warn you, we're about to spoil everything that just happened in the finale, so if you haven't seen it yet or you don't want to know, now would be the time to catch a ride on out of here until we're done. Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's get to the big reveals, and because this was the finale, there's kind of a bunch of them. Wanda full-on is the Scarlet Witch now. She defeated Agatha Harkness and brought down the Hex for the sake of the people inside. The twins stop existing and so does her version of Vision, but not before he restores the memory of White Vision. Not only was Pietro Ralph all along, but he's also the punchline of what might be the best dick joke in all of the MCU. And not to be forgotten, it looks like Monica Rambeau and her newly acquired superpowers are headed to space to meet Nick Fury. Hey look, I told you it was a lot. Now let's do a quick recap and show how we got there. Picking up from last week, it's Wanda versus Agatha and, well, Vision versus Vision. Let's focus on the Wanda stuff first. She takes on Agatha to save the twins, who apparently just never thought of walking backwards, apparently.
I take power from the undeserving. It's kind of my thing.
Which is a super rude way of telling Wanda she's undeserving, something Wanda takes exception to. Their battle takes them to the middle of town where Wanda comes face to face with the true victims of the Hex, its NPCs. And with that, Wanda again unleashes her power and starts to bring down the Hex, freeing everyone inside. Problem is, Vision and the twins begin to disintegrate because they need the Hex to exist. Agatha keeps the supervillain monologue going as all of this is happening, so after some family superheroics, Wanda briefly reestablishes the Hex, this time with runes on its massive walls to render Agatha's magic useless.
But I don't need you to tell me who I am.
Now the full-blown Scarlet Witch, Wanda transforms Agatha into Agnes, the nosy neighbor, trapping her in the real Westview for good. She says goodbye to her Vision and the twins before bringing down the Hex one more time, effectively wiping all three of them from existence, and she disappears. In the post-credits scene, we see her leading a quiet life in the mountains, but then we also see her inside the cabin studying the arcane arts from the pages of the Darkhold.
I don't understand this power, but I will.
But I'm not the true Vision. Only a conditional Vision.
Okay, the Vision versus Vision stuff in this episode was pretty great. White Vision is sent into the Hex to destroy Wanda's Vision, and they fight, and it's pretty clear that they are an even match for one another.
You must be destroyed.
Vision Bowl, as we'll call it, basically takes place to allow Wanda the time to deal with Agatha Harkness, but the longer it goes on, the more and more truth Hex Vision is able to share with White Vision.
I request elaboration.
Long story short, Hex Vision explains the situation to White Vision, whose programming directive is to destroy the real Vision. They both agree that neither of them is the true Vision, yet they both are.
As a carbon-based synthesoid, your memory storage is not so easily wiped.
And so Hex Vision restores White Vision's memories and they come back to him like a flood. When it's done, he knows exactly who he is.
I am Vision.
And that's the last we see of him. A restored Vision is somewhere out there in the MCU, but where will we see him next?
Captain Rambeau. They're asking for you in the theater.
Looks like Monica Rambeau and her newfound superpowers are headed to space, and that's because her mid-credits meeting in the theater was with a Skrull who basically lets her know that Nick Fury is up there and he'd like a word. We last saw Nick Fury wandering shoeless around a massive space station being built by a crew of all Skrulls in the post-credits scene of Spider-Man Far From Home. Fury met Monica when she was a little girl in the 1990s during the events of Captain Marvel. Now that Monica has full-blown superpowers and S.W.O.R.D. is a little up in the air now that Hayward got arrested, Fury is likely assembling a new group of remarkable individuals to see if they could become something more.
I got my eye on you.
But before all of that, we found Monica trapped in a house with Evan Peters, who was actually Agatha's Ralph all along. Monica frees him from Agatha's spell, making him regular old Ralph Boner again.
Boner.
Monica and Agent Jimmy Woo work together to protect the twins and the residents of the Hex from full-blown psycho Director Hayward. Monica saves the boys as Hayward casually empties his clip in their general direction, and her powers kick in to block the bullets, but the kids have their own powers to protect themselves with. When the fighting is done, Monica shares a moment of understanding with Wanda, who pieces out to parts unknown. Hayward gets arrested thanks to Darcy, who is somehow not arrested for the litany of cybercrimes she just committed outside the Hex a few days ago. And just like always, here's a fresh batch of Easter eggs for you. When Vision cries and Wanda says her goodbyes to him, that's a throwback to Avengers number 58, which showed us way back in 1968 that even an android can cry. When Wanda casually tosses a frickin' Buick at Agatha, we get a nice little visual reference to the Wicked Witch of the East, R.I.P. from The Wizard of Oz. And those mountains Wanda's cabin is quaintly nestled at the base of, there's a strong chance those are the Wundagore Mountains, a key location in Marvel Comics with lots of ties to one Wanda Maximoff. And the Darkhold!
That's the Book of the Damned.
Yes, thank you, Agatha. We now know that the creepy book we saw in Agatha's basement, or was it Ralph's basement? Look, whatever. The Darkhold appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and later in Runaways, and now it looks like we'll be seeing it again, but what we don't know is if this is indeed the same ancient tome. The Darkhold has lots to say about the Scarlet Witch, like she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, and that she's destined to destroy the world. Good times. And of course the dangling threads. Jimmy Woo's missing person, Monica Rambeau's aerospace engineer, red herrings all along. But what do you think? Is Wanda truly more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme? What is she up to? And what about Vision? Where will we see them all next? Let's keep the theories going in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Canon Fodder. We're going to take a quick break next week as we get ready for Falcon and the Winter Soldier and a little film called the Justice League Snyder Cut. But if you're in the mood for more Marvel, here's what's next for the MCU now that WandaVision is over. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.
You live here now. No one will ever bother you.
Okie dokie, artichoke.